Let's all go to the lobby, lobby, lobby. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the. Let's all go to the lobby.
What is up, Brewskis? We're back with yet another One Reel In podcast. Joining me, as always, Marco Dupa.
Cheers.
And special guest to the show, Rob himself. Wow, Rob.
It's Rob.
Hey everybody,
Rob.
I'm Rob.
That's right. You have a nickname?
Birdie.
Birdie, yeah. Here.
You can call me whatever you want,
Oh, thank
but
you.
you better not call me without your money.
Oh, I like it. It's spicy. We are joining you today to talk about a very special film just released recently on digital and soon to come out on a 4K Blu-ray. Avatar. The Way of Water. We all went and saw it in theaters. This has been a long time coming. So I got some quick facts for you guys before we really get into it, okay?
Okay.
Lay it on us.
Released December 16th, 2022. It is out now on digital, as I just said. Coming out April 26th on 4K Blu-ray. Directed by, of course, Jim Cameron himself. The original
Jimmy.
came out back in 2009.
That was a whole different world.
Yeah, it sure was. The budget was anywhere between $350 and $460 million. I'm not sure where the discrepancy comes within that, but
Inflation.
could be. Yeah.
It took so long to.
It's 6 months of inflation.
Advertising, maybe, I don't know. Box office, can you guys guess? If you haven't seen it.
Well, where it's at currently.
Currently, yeah.
I don't think it's hit 2 billion.
Isn't it like $3 billion?
Between you guys. It's over $2 billion.
Damn.
$2.3 billion, which makes it ranked number 3 of the top grossing films of all time. Third behind only Avengers Endgame, which made $2.7 billion, and Part 1, Avatar Part 1, which got $2.9 billion, almost $3 billion.
It's kind of insane when you think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Endgame being as successful as it is or was,
Sure.
and that first Avatar movie holding that top spot, just
It really didn't sit well with me. It's kind of depressing to think that those are the 3 most successful movies financially of all time.
Well, James Cameron re-released it just so it could maintain that spot.
yeah, that's
you
that
know?
fuck shit.
That's-
I don't think
they
that
shouldn't
should
count that.
No, it
Shouldn't
shouldn't
count,
count.
yeah.
I don't think it should count. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're just gonna keep doing that. They re-released, or they're gonna re-release Titanic, right? Didn't he
think
say he was
they
gonna,
I
or
think
did
they
he?
already
Did he already
did.
did
I
it?
think
He already
they
did
did.
it.
I think they did, yeah.
Endgame, they put that back in theaters.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that's supposed to come back. That was a really super successful.
There should be limitations to
I
that,
think
right?
they're showing Return of the King in theaters.
That's it.
again.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah,
That one's
yeah.
coming back.
But
But I
you-
don't even understand that one.
Just because it's super. Yeah, like why not show the whole trilogy first of all?
Yeah,
And to be honest,
yeah.
if they're not showing the extended editions,
Right.
what's even the point of going? What's
the
even the
point?
point of
What's
going?
the point?
If they were to
What's the
say
point?
like we're showing the extended editions in theaters,
Yeah. I'd be there day
I would
one.
be
Yeah.
there.
That's amazing. Rotten Tomato score is 76% for critics, 92% for us normal Joe Schmoes.
Bunch of Navis.
Our Navi, the Navis, yes. The Navises. So yeah,
You need a visa if you're in a Navi.
I think you do.
Navatistas.
Navis.
So, with that being said, shall I get into the plot?
You know what I'm gonna ask?
Okay.
Can you get into the? Are you gonna be able to maintain? Can you get us through?
In like 2 or 3 minutes.
There's no way he's getting through
A
it in
minute
3
per hour?
minutes. There's no way he gets through it in 3 minutes.
Let's time it.
Time me.
All right.
What? So how long are you saying? I'll give you 5.
Give me 5. Give me 5.
5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. And go.
We pick up 16 years after part 1. The Na'vi have kicked out the RDA, and Jake Sully has been getting busy with Neytiri. They have 2 sons, a daughter, and the adoptive daughter of Dr. Grace Augustine, now deceased.
We couldn't remember the names.
Yeah, no, exactly. But a new threat is coming. The old threat. The old Marines who got wiped out the last time have had their consciousnesses downloaded into recombinants, which are new avatar bodies. They are now a hit squad assigned to take out old Jakey boy and capture Jake's kid and capture Jake's kid and Spider, a human boy who's the bastard son of former/current big bad Colonel Miles Quaritch. The kids are saved except Spider, and the Sullys escape to the Water Clan, the Metkaleen. Though unsure at first, the Sullys become friendly with the people and wildlife. Curie, Sigourney Weaver's immaculate conception baby, links to the spirit tree and blacks out. Meanwhile, Quaritch and gang with Spider make their way to Metkaleen and link up with whalers who drill for anti-aging serum.
Forgot about that.
One of Jake's kids links to such a whale who is an outcast for attacking whalers in the past. These whales are pacifists. I underlined that. The kids get captured again. In the rescue, one of the Sully boys is killed. The Na'vi wreck shop again with the whales. Quaritch almost dies, but is reluctantly saved by Spider before he can drown. Spider then rejoins the Sullys. After the funeral for Netayam, the deceased son, Jake and clan are welcomed as Metakillian, and Jake says they must keep fighting the RDA. Avatar boys will return in Avatar: The Seed Bearer. Thank you very much.
So that was actually just about 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
You did it. You did it.
You guys are going to be quizzed on that after this.
Now, as much as I love to give you your flowers, is the movie's plot so paper thin that we were able to get through it that quickly? Well, and yet I left some stuff out. And yet I was so exhausted by the end of that 3.5 minutes, it felt like the whole movie.
I mean, I don't want to, come swinging into every single defense of this film, but I feel like most movies, if you really tried, you could encapsulate the plot
Sure.
in 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe.
I try my best.
That doesn't work for my joke, though.
Every time we do this.
No.
Yeah. That's fine.
No, listen. Every time we do this podcast, okay, go back and watch, he just is a little verbose. That's all.
I
just
get lost
a
in
little.
the plot.
Yeah.
Literally. I get lost in the plot.
Yeah. And then, we're too many times where we're just sitting here and he's literally like going through. Sometimes it'll be like dialogue, and it's like we don't need that detail.
Well, see, I found it interesting that you were using all of the names and like the official name of the village. Like if it had been me, I would have been like the Water Village.
Yeah.
The son, the old general guy.
Sure.
Oh no, you have no idea.
Well, this was the first time that I've actually taken notes, and that's why I have all the names.
Yeah.
So, turning a new leaf.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do now.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what this show's
Yay
about.
for accuracy.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Turning new leaves.
Yeah.
Leaves.
Turning new leaves,
New
becoming
leaves.
one with the water.
Yeah.
So, in some ways, you could maybe say was the theme of the movie turning a new leaf and adapting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was.
That was one of them.
Wait, turning a new fin. Yeah.
Or like weird hand fin thing.
Shell. A new shell. Turning a new shell.
Turning a new
They
shell.
have so many different hands. Did you think about this?
Yeah.
The-
They got webby hands.
They got the web hands. You got the regular Navi hands.
Right.
And then you have the hands that you can tell that they're not a real Navi.
Yeah, the
Right.
humans,
The
because
human
they have like
hand,
less.
humanoid
They call them
hand.
like 5 fingers.
5 fingers instead.
don't
'cause
they?
Yeah.
Natural
Yeah.
Navi have 6 fingers,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's established.
Yes.
And then the meta
Forgot about
whatever
that.
the fuck, they have like that fat nasty hand.
Yeah, because they
Yeah.
can't swim.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
How many more hands is Jim gonna introduce?
Well, I mean, we got the fire hands.
We have the fire. We need they need to have like mitts, right? Like
Yeah,
to
like-
handle like
like
lava.
cartilage or
Yeah,
something
like
around
thick
there.
hands,
There's a big
paws.
big goblet of a hand.
Muffin? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say muffins. Mittens, I mean.
Muffin hands.
We're jumping ahead a little bit, but for those who may not be aware, it's already been acknowledged that the next movie is going to feature fire people. The fire Na'vi.
Yes, the fire Na'vi.
Who are going to be bad or antagonistic.
Right. So we've had the air Na'vi, which are, the original clan.
Well, they're like the jungle Na'vi.
Yeah.
I would consider them to be...
They have the
the
floating,
air. Okay, true.
And they have the flying dragon
Yes,
things
okay,
too.
good point.
Yeah, so I think they're technically the air Na'vi.
So next...
We went to sea Na'vi.
Yeah.
Now we have fire Na'vi. So we just need...
They need like...
land.
Land. I think they have like desert Na'vi. Like little...
Yeah.
They're gonna have like turbans and stuff.
They should be underground.
I would not be
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like
surprised.
cave dwellers.
Yeah, cave Na'vi.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like kind of subterranean. And they could be like really pale.
They're really pale. Yeah, they're like see-through kind
Yeah,
of.
maybe they don't.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
they can't
yeah.
even see. Maybe they use like echolocation.
Yeah.
Take notes, Jim.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Yeah. So, okay. Do we just... Well, how do we usually just do like best, worst,
So
favorite?
What I like to do generally is we start off with our negatives. We start off with the things that we can nitpick, the things that we maybe didn't like as much as we would have liked to. That way we can eventually get to some positives that we can leave the viewers on. So please, what are some things you left from Avatar: The Way of Water wanting for?
I mean, there was like a lot of nitpicky things that I could. Well, let me rephrase.
Now's the time.
There was a lot of that's why I said let me rephrase. That's obviously what we're doing right now. There was plot holes that I felt were not hugely important to the overall story, but they are nitpicky. I mean, the first thing that still stands out is obviously the scuba gear / mana war that they had.
Yeah. That saved
What?
the plot device. There's a plot device towards the end. We forgot to say this ahead of time. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning.
We're not going to hold back on this.
Yeah. So, towards the end, I think the one of the solutions for the finale is that these manta ray type creatures. There are these tiny ones that can help you breathe underwater.
Yeah, mana war is
Put it on your
jellyfish.
back or something.
I said a mana war, but a mana ray. Yeah.
You put them on your
Your
back.
back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they,
you
like-
slap them on like
They
scuba
like
gear.
hook into you or
yeah,
something.
and then you can breathe underwater.
Right.
And they introduced this halfway through the movie. Well, about
halfway
halfway
through the movie.
Yeah.
And then they abandon it
And then
for
it
the
comes
rest of the
back
movie.
at
Yeah,
the very
and
end.
they use it at the end, where some characters are about to die from drowning. They're like, we're not going to use this.
This has been a problem, we should say, for all of the Sullys in this world because they're not sea Na'vi.
Yeah. So all the ocean Na'vis can hold their breath for an insanely long time.
Right.
And all the other ones have to learn how to do it, and they're not as good, except for Sigourney Weaver's.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because she's Jesus.
She's
like a
Avatar
connection
Jesus.
with the planet.
Yeah.
Which was
That's a whole. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, it's hard to say that it was too long because it did feel like it needed to be that long, but it was too long.
Okay.
But I don't know what I would have taken out. Honestly, you know what I would have taken out? That entire subplot with the manta ray. I would just take that whole thing out.
But then
You don't need it.
But then how would they have survived the end? Like,
Because they don't even use it. She uses it.
Sigourney Weaver?
Navi Jesus. Yeah. She uses it to find them, right? Mm-hmm. But she doesn't help them with it. She just uses it, right? So if you just take that out and just say she is born of the planet, she has this connection to the planet, that's why she is a natural and breathing underwater, then you don't need the whole thing. You could just take that entire subplot
She
out.
learned the way by connecting to the tree underwater.
So that's
because
10 good
otherwise you'd
minutes
think,
right
why
there.
doesn't everybody always use these things?
That is exactly what I thought.
Right,
When they introduced it, I thought, okay, they're gonna have a fucking manta ray in their bags from now on. Like they're just gonna have one. It's just gonna whip them out. And it's gonna be like
Help me!
like the Flintstones. Like it's a living. And he just slaps it on their back. And then and they don't do it. And I'm just like, then what was the point of this? What was the
Until
point?
a pterodactyl rings the alarm.
Well, because otherwise now it's just Chekhov's mana
5
ray.
o'clock.
Yeah. So just take that whole thing out. That's you got a good 8 to 10 minutes right there. You don't need that whole sequence where they introduce it. You don't need the sequence where she's like. You could just shave that. Boom.
Sure.
You know.
Okay.
There's just a couple of little things. Their training montage probably went on a little too long. Like we get it. They can't swim. Now they can swim.
That was like the entire second half of the movie.
It was
as
a
a matter of fact.
massive.
There was like a
amount of
solid
time.
hour of the movie was them learning how to swim
Yeah.
and hold their breath.
And it was like, all right, man, we get it.
They could have played like, a little like late 80s Van Halen over that. Show
Yeah.
them learn the ropes
Yeah.
and then boom.
Animal.
That'd be actually rad, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody make that super.
I don't know. You guys got anything? I'll keep thinking about mine, but
One thing, this didn't occur to me immediately. Like after we saw the movie, we went to Chili's and talked about it
sure
a bit.
did, yeah.
We sure did, yeah.
Well, we get the
The triple dipper,
triple
friend.
dipper.
Yeah.
right.
That was my first time with a triple dipper. Yeah. It's a good time.
she treat you,
Yeah.
right?
It's a good time.
Wait till you start mixing and matching.
Oh, forget about it. You
have no idea.
So many options.
Yeah, yeah. This didn't occur to me then, but like in the months hence, as I've read about it and thought about it more, I feel like, everyone talks about, the world building is so cool, but and to a degree it is, but I kind of feel like the Na'vi as aliens aren't different enough from human culture.
Yeah.
And the part that really drives this home, and this is what made me think of it, because I saw some people criticizing this on Reddit or YouTube or something, when the water Na'vi are going to go to war against the humans, and they all start doing the haka.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and it's like, okay, so of course they have the water tribe doing the haka,
Right.
because that's what like the Polynesian / like water tribe people of Earth do. But it made me think, like, why would these aliens in a different planet, like in another part of the galaxy, have this exact same ritual
Makes no
as
sense.
Earth?
Yeah, and I don't give it the benefit of the doubt to say that like this is a statement on like cultures
Indigenous.
cultures are like inevitable, and like this is gonna be like
No.
how it will be. This is how just culture evolves naturally. I don't think that was the case.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, if you live on the ocean, you're gonna use like
What's
the
there.
resources. Like that's that way.
Sure.
But why are they all like explicitly like Polynesian,
Yeah.
oceanic?
It makes no
Yeah, yeah,
sense.
culture.
It makes zero sense that he decided to just pick that one culture. If all of them were like different, if it was like an amalgamation of different cultures, like Philippines and Samoan,
Vikings.
but yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it could have been any of those things that like were. I don't know how to say, water based.
Yeah.
People, Pacific Islanders, people who lived on islands, and-
Water-based folks.
Yeah, but you know what
The
I'm
kinds
saying.
of
I didn't
people
know-
are land people and water people.
Water people. I don't know other way to
They
say
got
it,
some
but
Puerto
that's-
Ricans
I mean,
there.
okay, but obviously,
Driving Honda
Jim
Civics.
had the same thought because he was like, "These people are based around water, right?"
Yeah.
And that's who he picked, and
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. Because it's like, yeah, why would you have one like spiritual culture that dominates this entire area of the planet? Because what we're seeing, and which I thought was actually pretty good in the movie, was this shift to the other side of the planet,
Yeah.
and it kind of showed like how big. Because the first movie, it seems like we're just dealing with a city, really, a city
yeah.
in the jungle. Like these are all these, like, not even really a city, more like just a
village.
tribe, like a village. And then, when they devastate what looks to be like a quarter of the planet, and then they go to another part of the planet, and it's like they're like, listen, that's y'all problems. Y'all stay over there. Don't bring that shit to us. It does illustrate that we are dealing with a planet and
Yeah.
not just
That's one thing that they do very well, actually.
Yeah.
Because like one of the criticisms, that you have of like other science fiction properties, like most prominently Star Wars, you have all these planets, and every single planet is just like one giant homogeneous culture location.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or there's like one city on every planet that just everybody and their mom goes to, and the rest of the planet is just like nothing apparently.
Yeah.
This, when you think about an actual planet, it's huge. Like there's so many diverse cultures and cities and people on Earth, and you're kind of seeing that a little bit here, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think it drove that home too. Mind you, I'm not trying to get into the good stuff yet.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
just to tiptoe in a little bit, what you said is true about it seeming like there's so much more to explore on this planet because I don't know if you remember, but like the entire like landing process of the Marines.
Yeah.
This one showing the devastation that even just getting there.
That was brutal.
Yeah. But it's like that is a tiny blip on this planet that is obviously devastating, but to the Marines that are setting up their camp there is nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's absolutely nothing. It's just them literally parking their car in order to get out and do what they want
and they
to do.
didn't even notice them until they start the deforestation, right?
Right.
So when they drop them fucking things, that is like, again, that's another part of the planet where you're like, a lot of Na'vi didn't even know that was happening until they start the process of deforestation. And then they're like, oh shit. So yeah, another way to kind of illustrate like just how big this is.
Yeah. And how big the threat is too.
Yeah.
It's showing like this is a global threat.
It's like if they did that just landing, what are they going to do if they actually take over?
What are their plans now that they're here?
Yeah.
I was really confused by the casting of Kate Winslet.
Who was Kate Winslet?
Exactly. She is the wife or the mom,
Queen,
the
right?
queen
Yeah,
of the Water Tribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't really understand that.
The only reason
What's there to understand?
Well, if Jim is trying to make a statement about these different cultures and these different, then he has like the whitest human being on the planet be the queen of what is a Samoan / Polynesian sect of the planet.
Sure. Yeah.
Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Could have picked any fucking.
What were the other? Were all the other actors of the Water Navy?
Most of them, yeah. The king is
He certainly was.
He's Samoan. I think he's like Samoan from New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. Because I looked this up. He's the guy from Live Free or Die Hard. He's the detective who's running the running the anti-terrorist thing, and he gets all mad at the cops because the two other FBI agents because they didn't tell him about.
Yeah, here's the full cast here.
Awful lot of white people.
That's a lot of. Like they have these names underneath them as who they played. I'm like, I don't know.
And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What I'm supposed to remember who these people are?
Yeah, you don't remember? Oh crap!
It's a touchscreen.
My big old fingers.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, you don't remember Zidinarak?
Zidinarak? Sounds like
Deborah Ann Scott.
Teenage
Do you not
Mutant
remember
Ninja
her?
Turtles villain. Zidinarak?
Or a Pokemon.
He's here to take our people. Or a Pokemon.
Zidinarak, go!
Obviously an electric Pokemon.
Electric Ball, I'm thinking.
Yes. All right, let's just go to Wikipedia. Let's see the full cast here.
So,
Yeah, Sam Worthington, Kate Winslet as Ronal
Sure.
or Ronald.
Or Ronald.
McDonald. Cliff Curtis, I think is who you're talking about. Yes,
There you
Cliff
go.
Curtis.
There you go.
interesting.
Yes.
He looked.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's that guy. Mm-hmm.
He's a that guy. Yes, he is a that guy.
Borrow the vernacular of another podcast.
Yes, very much so. And he's great in everything that he does.
Yeah.
He's really good.
He was in Doctor Sleep.
I've never seen
movie
Dr.
that
Sleep.
you guys should watch.
It was good.
Yes,
I saw it in theaters.
It's great.
It's way better than I expected it was
Yes,
going to be.
yes. The apparently the director's cut's even better. I haven't seen that one yet, but I have it. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Focus.
Side tangent. I'm sorry.
So I'm not saying that every character needed to be played by a Samoan but I feel like Jim is trying to make a point. So when you do something like that, I feel like you got to go all the way. It's 0 to 100 or you don't do it, is what I'm saying. I have no problem with Kate Winslet being in the movie, being white. I have no problem with anything. What I do have an issue with is like it feels like he's trying to make a point with using these different cultures and things like that. Then it's like, all right, you use the imagery and the customs of Samoans, and then you cast Kate Winslet to be the queen of them. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, but he wanted to work with her again.
And just re-release Titanic.
Because it's weird because like they're not
for the third time.
I mean, you know,
Titanic, the threequel.
If James Cameron was sitting right here, he would probably say, "But they're not Samoan. They're aliens."
And I would say respectfully, sir, you're full of shit.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Because it's like he wants to have his cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
you know, like,
exactly. You don't get to make a message movie and then when somebody questions the message, you go, well, it's not that serious. And it's like you don't get to just jump out
when
of this.
he made the argument that he was drawing inspiration from like, you know, like the genocide of like native tribes and like, you know, in our world.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a like Tarantino Django Unchained sort of like Inglourious Bastards revenge in a way. Like it's what if, you know, these native people were successful in fighting back. Right. Yeah, that's kind of like
he's gotten criticism for that very thing because a lot of people are like, well, not only just that definitely is a really fucked up thing to think like, well, they could have just. I mean, slavery's a choice. Not only that, but
R.I.P. Kanye.
A lot of people have. Well, I don't know. He's going to return like Jesus.
He watched 21 Jump Street.
Exactly.
Dude.
He found his favorite Jew, and it's not Jesus. Apparently, I thought it was Jesus, but it's Jonah Hill. Apparently.
Yeah.
If some people are criticizing him because, especially in the first one, and it extends into this one, the idea that like the Na'vi are obviously indigenous people or Native Americans.
Sure. Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, you're using their imagery and you're using these people to kind of like push a message. But the idea that they were all they were this perfect people that were one with the earth and they spoke to the trees and they spoke like this. It's a very, very regressive way to look at indigenous people and a lot of
noble
people,
savage.
Yeah, exactly. And that whole trope, they were like, you based a 3-hour movie around just this, like they're all just infallible people who touch the trees and can breathe the air and speak to the dragonflies. It's fucking bullshit.
Now I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Playing devil's advocate here. We've only seen 2 parts of a 5-part series.
Sure.
And it's already been told that the next one is going to introduce an antagonistic, violent
That's fair,
it
yeah.
has
segment.
been foretold.
So maybe it'll be complicated a little bit, you know. Maybe
But do I need to see 3 movies to finally have the thing fleshed out enough that those criticisms are not valid anymore? You need 3 movies.
I mean,
that track it almost 8 hours.
Yeah, because it's hard with, like, when you have something that's a series, you have to walk a fine line between the whole series coming together to tell like a broad story, but also each individual work has to stand on its own and be consumable on its own as an individual
and
work.
satisfying.
I think TV shows are something where you don't get to question the thing until you're at the end of it, right?
Or at least the season.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. You can't be upset with something that happens in episode 1 and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, motherfucker, give it
a second.
Yeah. But a movie, like you said, like I think that is something that needs to be able to stand on its own. Every question doesn't need to be answered, especially in a movie that is built around a series or a trilogy or whatever. You don't need to answer every question because you can do that in the later films. I get that. And maybe these criticisms, like as you're playing devil's advocate, maybe they will be answered. But as it stands, I think they're pretty just criticisms.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of what else.
Yeah, we're on the criticism angle
so
here.
Much.
I mean, some of it was just a little like, you know, I mean, I'm sure we're going to talk about this. I mean, it's the one unanimous thing you can say about this movie. Like, I'm sure we're going to talk about how, you know, rich the visuals were. But some of it was, I was just kind of just like, we get it.
Yeah.
we get it.
Yeah.
You know, like or the part where I think we joked about this when he saw it. The part where it's just weird, like when you have computer animated cat people things. And there's like that scene when like the daughter gets out of the water and she's like all like sexy, and it's like literally like a 30-minute moment of her, and I'm just like,
weird. The lens lingers. The lens lingers on these alien bodies, and it's very.
You just
weird.
imagine
I'm not turned on by this.
He goes into like the office of the visual effects people. And just like,
make it sexier.
I don't know. I mean, her hips. See, I want to bring those in a little bit. You know. It's not as feminine as I need it to be.
Like, did they like mocap that?
Right. And then who was the mocap? God, so weird.
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, it wasn't Sigourney
got
Weaver. It wasn't Sigourney. She does, but it wasn't Sigourney Weaver. It was the daughter of the water people.
No. He's saying Sigourney Weaver did the mocap, and then they just shrunk Sigourney Weaver down to play. Yeah. Which I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
No, but that wasn't the character.
Sure.
But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. No, but her character was mad weird too. She did the thing where she was
she was like
laying
rolling
on the fucking
The grass.
That was weird.
That was the scene I immediately thought of. That's why I said Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, no, you're
right.
About the daughter of the queen, and she gets out of the water, and all the boys are like, and you're like, ugh.
I have an air boner.
Yeah, I forgot about the rolling around in the grass.
Yeah,
like
when she's like getting in touch with the earth or the planet.
It's very
What's
awkward.
the planet
It's
called?
like
It's very awkward.
Pandora.
Pandora. That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Pandora. Yeah, like so it's
Yeah.
well that's supposed to be like it's like a euphoric moment. Like so basically it's like so she's like Avatar Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, so she's gonna be revealed to be like the chosen one and
Yeah.
like save the world somehow as the series goes on.
Which doesn't even make any sense because like
Or be sacrificed.
Hopefully it'll be explained
She could
more.
be sacrificed.
I hope
and
she
then-
gets sacrificed.
Maybe she'll like upload herself to the tree and then like become the planet.
She's
Well,
the
okay,
Earth,
so
yeah.
when they
She's
do
Pandora.
that, I was gonna bring that up. When she does that, there's the one moment where she like she talks to the I don't
like
know
the
the
fish or
weeds
some
at the
shit.
bottom
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
ocean or whatever, and she has like a fucking panic attack or something.
She has like a seizure. Or
She has a
something.
seizure,
Yeah,
that's
she
right.
connects to the world tree under the ocean.
Right.
And has a seizure. Then,
Okay,
yeah.
so I was confused about this, and I
I said it right in my notes, Mark. I said it.
I didn't.
Weren't you listening?
I didn't bring this up when we talked about it because I fucking forgot because we were talking about so much. But are we to believe that because she is part human, that she has an advanced form of epilepsy and that's why she had a seizure? Because the doctor comes in and he's like, it's like epilepsy. That's why she had a seizure. If she has another one, she could die, right? Or are we supposed to believe that she is so powerfully in tune with the planet that it consumed her, it overwhelmed her?
I feel like it could go either way right now. We just don't know enough.
Yeah.
We don't
but
know
then
how she was conceived.
why
we don't
didn't-
know if there was a father.
Why didn't it happen later on in the movie when she connects to them again? She does it again,
Maybe
and they just abandon it. They don't even do
Maybe
a thing.
she like learns how to.
But how?
That epileptic moment like made her connected in a way that she wasn't before.
I just need a character to say that. Just someone be like,
We need
oh, maybe
another
it was
shaman.
the first time she. Yeah.
We need a new
She
shaman.
has too many midichlorians. And it's.
Yeah,
overpowering,
you just
yeah.
don't get to abandon shit like that. The character almost dies, and then she does the same thing later on, and we just like don't. She just doesn't.
Well, I forget. It's been just long enough. Was there like when she did it the second time? Was it like, oh, this is risky. I hope she's okay. Or did they just kind of gloss over it?
They didn't gloss over it. She does it, and they're like, no. But she does it, and then like nothing happens other than like what she intended. to
Yeah,
happen.
she's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
They just don't explain why.
I think it's intended that she now has this connection with Pandora and the creatures there within that she can do this now.
So then
Like,
why couldn't she have done it before? Had she not learned, or did she need to have
she had
the
to
seizure?
break the seal, I think, to you know.
Right. Okay. So she doesn't have epilepsy.
No.
That was just their way to
that was-
describe it.
And I think that was the way for Jim to say, like, humans don't know enough about this. Like, they use their science and stuff, and, like, they can try to figure it out and make it compact enough for us to understand as an audience, because obviously we're humans too.
We're dumb. We don't
We're dumb.
understand
We're dumb.
what
Exactly.
Jim
Humans
is
and their
going,
science.
where he's
Yeah,
going with this.
But it's something more mystical than that. And that's why they have the shaman lady that's helping her towards the end to resuscitate her. Because it doesn't...
No, that's the queen. That's Kate Winslet.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, the shaman, Kate
Yeah.
Winslet.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, right? That's what you would do
Yes.
whenever you think of Kate Winslet.
But I think that's the lesson to be learned here is that, like, science isn't everything. Sometimes mysticism works. And,
See,
like,
I would have preferred
spirit is-
her to actually have a form of epilepsy, and then and that being such a foreign thing to them is
they interpret it as
right.
some mystical.
Well, because
thing.
that's how most things, Americans and people in the Western world or the civilized world, quote unquote, would define things through science, and people who are of a spiritual ilk would define things through their spirituality. But we're describing the same thing.
Well, the humans in this are mostly American, so
Right. Okay. So, but I mean, in our world, in the real world, the way that you would talk to somebody who's a very spiritual person or somebody who's never encountered any of this, like Western medicine, would ascribe their spirituality to the same thing that we would.
science.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just the way that you define those things. But I would have preferred to her be like diagnosed with epilepsy, or like we find out that Sigourney Weaver's character has epilepsy and it's passed. I don't know if epilepsy is hereditary, so don't quote me on that. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, clearly.
But if there is some way to connect that to her bastard Jesus, I think that would have been a dope way
Another
to
good band name.
Bastard
Bastard
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna write that down.
Yeah, write that down. So yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a really convoluted way to go about that. I just don't think she needed to have any of that.
Yeah.
You know, she could have just been what she is, which is like this Navi
Plucky,
Jesus. Yeah.
Young Navi Jesus.
Yeah, and she just has this connection
Another
with the
reason
world.
to keep Sigourney Weaver in the cast.
Well, because again, like, what do we get from this near-death experience that she has?
A plot point.
Exactly. Just a subplot. Another one.
You're right. You're right.
Like, what did we need?
All right.
Why did we need
So
that?
what are the major plot? What are the plot points of this movie? There's the humans landing again on the planet, and
Right.
then attacking
They're back to
Jake
finish what
Sully,
they
so they have to
started.
run away. That's like the main plot point.
Right.
Yeah.
There's them trying to get in good with the water people.
Right.
Right.
There's Sigourney Weaver being Jesus and having epilepsy.
Yes.
There's the one son being an outcast and making friends with the whale.
Yes.
There's the whalers who are killing whales.
Spider.
Yeah.
There's Spider,
Spider's whole
who's
thing,
a
yeah.
human,
Son of,
but once
of the Colonel.
and having a crisis of
Yeah.
conscience
He's like
there.
Tarzan.
yeah.
I feel like there's more than I'm forgetting.
There's a burgeoning romance between the Water Tribe and
there's
Sully's
the kid and the girl in
Yeah.
the Water Tribe.
Right.
There's probably at least one more. There's the like kind of like the rivalry between Jake Sully's older son and like the younger son.
Yeah.
And
That causes some strife.
There's that.
There's the Colonel's weird relationship with his kid, because you're like, is he actually gonna be a good dad? Is he turning on his military guys? Because there's moments where he's like, where he shows like weakness, quote unquote, because of Spider.
I was a little disappointed with the Colonel. I kind of wanted them to complicate his character a little bit more.
I think
And
that
they
was
did-
their
and they,
attempt.
And they still may be going
Yeah,
there.
I think they are.
They
I think they
gotta
are
be.
because he was saved by Spider. He tries to say that Spider's his son, but not really, because he does not. He no longer identifies as Quaritch. He is not him
Right.
anymore.
Right.
They make it.
It's like I'm a new.
Yeah, I'm something completely different. So
Which he
there's-
is. He's a clone. He's not Quaritch.
Essentially, and
He's just a
breaks
clone
his
with
own-
his memories.
He
yeah.
breaks his own skull.
Yeah.
From his.
You could
own dead
technically
body.
say that was a plot point. His entire identity is a subplot.
The identity crisis of Quaritch, I think, is its own thing for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's setting up for something further on.
yeah.
We immediately in this Chili's conversation talked about where we think that character is going.
Yeah.
Which it seems like he is eventually going to go the way of Jake Sully and be transformed into a naturalist.
Do you
and
think
Navi.
he's going to be like the final big bad, or there's going to be like another?
I think there's going to be a greater danger that's presented, and they are going to have to find common ground.
Well, I think I heard. I don't know if this was just speculation or if it was something that Cameron said, but I think I read somewhere that in the final movie, like the Navi are going to go to Earth. Navis take Manhattan.
Yes, yeah. Avatar, welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so dumb.
How much product placement is going to
Just fucking
It's
these
all Pepsi.
big, giant fucking nut.
You know they're going to go to a club at some point.
Oh my god.
They go to Bonnaroo.
Yeah, they're gonna have a Pepsi for the first time. They're going, oh, they're gonna make a stupid face and. Oh God, I pray.
I hope that happens.
They'll have 2 liters like cans. And this is good.
The caffeine.
Dude,
It's just a fish out of water story.
now if he ends up going the way of like, anti-hero, I'll honestly I fucking hate that. I hate that.
Let me present an idea for you, okay? What if at the end of this, the Na'vi who come to Earth are coming on like a revenge mission, and they want to come to Earth to take it over, and they become the bads, They come back in.
I mean, that would be surprising and that would be meaty to wrestle with from a thematic standpoint, but no way in hell.
No.
That would be such a trashing of like everything.
You don't build a theme park around the villains of the movie.
Well, no. But what if like there's a specific sect? What if the Colonel comes and makes a strike force against Earth, and they come down, and then the Na'vi come in to swoop in
and save Earth,
and there's this bridge built, between Earth and Pandora that means peace.
I mean, it's not
peoples.
bad. I just the fucking humans would get in the way, and it would just ruin it for me.
It needs to stay on Pandora.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, the reason people love these movies is because they can go and be in another world.
Escape to another world.
Yeah, if they come back to Manhattan.
Nobody wants to see some industrial... And they make a big point in the movies that Earth is dead.
Yeah.
And that's why they want to come colonize Pandora in the first place.
Yeah,
right.
So nobody wants to see some depressing...
I'd like to see a glimpse of.
It'd be cool to see.
What if you say
Go
it?
ahead.
No, you say it. Say it.
No, I will not say it. You say it. You say it.
What if
You popped up first. I want you to say it first.
What if the Earth that we come back to is the Terminator Earth?
Oh yes, and then Arnold shows up.
I mean. Post-apocalyptic.
It says Earth, whatever, and the first thing you see is like the robot arm step down on a skull. Oh my god!
It seamlessly sinks into Terminator 1.
And then you just get to watch Terminator
1? Yeah, the rest of the movie is Terminator 1.
Every film nerd in the world would instantly come.
Oh man,
Oh jeez.
Amazing.
all right.
Yeah.
Let's just take a moment and
just live in that. What that would be. Man.
Wow.
Old Jim.
He
can make it happen,
this entire
dude.
time.
You can make it happen.
Yeah.
Navy versus Xenomorphs.
God damn, that would be sick as fuck. Yeah, on their way to Earth, they encounter the fucking ship that's been destroyed by the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
They could just go on forever. So much cross.
Well, he's done.
Franchising.
I mean, all jokes aside, James Cameron has done like incredible world building to the point that like you can really imagine these things like this happening, and it's fully formed and fleshed out.
Yeah,
I mean,
and James Cameron. I mean, no one is denying James Cameron has his gifts.
Oh,
right.
Absolutely.
I mean,
right.
I mean, he's one of the best action directors of all time. But also, he's really good at world building.
He's a brilliant world builder. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, almost to a fault. Like, he focuses, I think, so much on world building that sometimes the plot can literally be lost.
Well, I mean, and that's, again, the runtime of this movie, I wrestle with it because, like I said at the top, it feels necessary, but it also feels too long. So, a lot of that world building, although it is necessary and that's part of his genius, maybe some of it could have been cut just slightly so that we can trim it.
Can I come in here a moment?
Sure, yeah.
And this is maybe kind of going to transition over to some of my positives about the film.
Let's do it. I think we've done enough of the negatives.
Yeah.
I will say, wait, before we
for
get
it.
into it, my one negative is what they did with the Edie Falco character. It's like, why are you bringing her there?
What a crime!
Is she the general?
Yeah, she's the new like military lead.
Yeah,
and
just a crime.
They do nothing.
She might be the big bad.
She could be the new big bad.
She could be. With her
She
coffee.
didn't even remember being in the movie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Did you see that story?
Yes.
She thought it came out and had bombed.
Yeah,
She's
so
the
she ain't being
general.
the new big bad.
She is General Frances Ardmore, apparently of the
General
RDA.
Frances McDormand.
Yes.
Okay.
She'd be a good addition.
Yeah,
She
let's
would-
get Frances McDormand up
she'd
in
be
this
great.
bit. Dang.
That's the first time I've heard that. Let's get Frances McDormand in this bitch. The Coen brothers, every time they make it.
Seriously. Let's get Frances McDormand in this bitch. What are we doing, yo? Joel, what are you doing?
Hey, I mean, they have to cast the entire fire tribe.
They do.
I mean,
It's,
do.
it's a big
Oh,
cast.
here's okay. I got a question.
Okay.
Do you know what you were gonna say? The
yeah,
last
I'll
thing?
remember it. You
Okay.
can go there.
What culture do you think he's gonna ape for the Fire Nation?
I mean, there's not. It just makes me think of like. It has the potential to be the most unique.
I think if he had to pick one culture from our current Earth, it'd be Hispanics. Or
Dude.
You're Hispanic, so you're gonna say that.
I can, or Hawaiian maybe, but that's too close.
I was thinking Hawaiian, but
That
Yeah.
may be too close to our Pacific Islanders that they've already done.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of cross pollination.
pollination. So you're getting racist just by talking about it. This is
That's-
cross
No,
pollination.
that's who the fire people are gonna be. A bunch of fucking rednecks.
Yes,
Oh my god,
they're all from Alabama.
You need to have like southern avatar.
Hell, you doing on this part of the island, boy?
Why don't you go back home?
That's where the fire comes from their hands, but it's like shotguns.
Got my boomstick.
Listen, we don't know what's going on over yonder on your part of the planet, but I can tell you what, you bring them generals over here, we're gonna give them what for? I don't know. I think probably like ancient Chinese royalty.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool to make it like.
Yeah, I can
Like-
see that.
like-
I can see that.
Yeah, you. I mean, I feel like he these movies already deal, especially these ones, already deal in a lot of like kind of like cultural stereotyping.
Yes.
I feel like if you like, I can see like kind of like traditional like East Asian working, and that'd be on one hand like in a way like kind of cool, and to kind of like see that aspect. But I could also see it dipping a lot into like Orientalism.
Yeah.
You
I was
know?
gonna say, question: would they make them have slanty eyes? Because I think they might. And
What other-
that would suck.
That would be
be brutal.
Yeah, what would be like their physical like defining characteristic? The fin hands,
puffy hands?
Puffy
It's really
hands.
puffy mitten
Oh, yeah,
hands.
they have
to,
mitten
to
hands,
pick
yeah.
up the magma
Yeah.
with.
the hands, the hands.
Yeah.
Well, cause so here's the thing. I'm trying to understand how is he even going to what does it mean for them to be fire people, right? Because the Na'vi, the ones who were in the sky, whatever the fuck they were called, they weren't just called Na'vi. Na'vi is the people of
don't think
Pandora,
we-
right?
It was the tribe that had a name.
Yeah.
But they're not different species. They're all Na'vi.
right. Na'vi is the species,
Right.
Right.
Just different adaptions.
Right.
Sure,
So how do you illustrate that with
Fire,
Fire.
people,
right?
Yeah.
Because the water people,
They're probably gonna paint themselves with like ash. Like war
Yeah,
paint
yeah.
with,
I would
like,
think
ash.
so. Yeah.
maybe their skin is like tougher, thicker. They can deal with the fire
Yeah.
easier.
It all
Because the
reminds
water
me of-
people don't control water.
Maybe
It
like
isn't
brand,
like
maybe they'll like
Avatar.
brand themselves or something like that. That'd be
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
cool.
That'd be cool. That'd be
Or
cool.
they have specific weapons that deal with fire.
Fire arrows.
Yeah.
But
Flaming
yeah, no,
swords.
they have sleeve tattoos
Yeah.
like cholos.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Mr. Cartoon tattoos,
yeah.
but they're just fire brands.
They're all clowns. and
Tears
stuff.
down the. A star.
Low riders. They drive in low riders.
They're like rhinos, but they just
Yeah. They have tiny legs.
Oh my god!
Look what
I
I can
can
make
giant
this one
riding
do, man.
rhinos.
There's giant corgi rhinos that they drive because it's just so small. And
They
they,
hook up to him.
yeah.
oh fuck, man. Hey,
Yeah.
listen.
They have like
is this stereotyping or is it just going along with what James has done with the rest of the movie?
Why not both?
Right.
It's the same thing. I think it's the same thing.
All right.
That's
What were
a good
you going to
question,
say
though.
before we get to the...
Well, to talk about like positives. So I was gonna say to your point of like it being too long, and I was gonna say as a counterpoint, this is where I start to like become like an Avatar apologist.
Ugh.
I know, and let me preface this by saying I really did not like the first one.
Okay.
Like I enjoyed watching it. It was literally just like a movie. I was like,
I'm right there with you.
all right, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then all of a
don't
sudden,
get the
it's like the
love, I
biggest
don't-
thing in the world, and people are like, oh, it's so wonderful. It's a good, great, best-selling movie of all time. I'm
Yeah.
just like, what?
Never understood it.
I was so over, and I was actually like, I wanted Avatar 2 to like fail. I was like, this is going to be dumb. Nobody wants this. Why does James Cameron think that people are excited about this after a decade?
Yeah.
But then it
And
got
you
to
call yourself an apologist.
yeah. No, but then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to meet this movie on its own terms.
Sure.
I'm just going to go see it. And, came away overall with a positive thing. So to my point about this is where I start making my case for it. Part of the allure of this movie, part of the central premise of going to see it as a consumer, is we're going to get a chance to live in this fantastic alien world. Mm-hmm. It's an experience.
Yeah.
So to that point, why do you want to make it shorter? Like, if the whole point of the movie is to go live in this world, you got to give us some time of just living in it.
Sure. Yeah.
And just seeing the characters interact and swim with the fishes and roll around in the grass. Like, yeah, okay, it's kind of corny, but like that's like kind of what you want. It's kind of like saying, wow, that Star Wars movie was cool. I could have done without all the space battles, like,
Sure. Yeah.
Well, okay. My counter to that would be, number one, couldn't you say that about every movie?
yeah.
And at what point do you go, this is enough? Are you telling a story, or are you showing some? Are you a tour guide?
Both.
Because you can live in any of those worlds for as
Both.
long as you want to live in.
Both.
I will say I think James Cameron is so enamored with the world that he's built with Pandora that
That's for sure.
he is comfortable. I think I don't mean to speak for the man, but I think that from the plans that he has told the general public, he is fully comfortable with this being his like final crescendo of a career.
Which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it's a sad.
But my point is he believes in it so much that like he is willing to be like, this is it for
He's
me.
got this weird.
I got that from him, and that's why going into this movie, I was like, wow me, James Cameron.
Yeah.
Like, make me a believer.
He believes in it himself clearly so much that he's willing to bet everything on it.
And when you look at this is my thesis. A movie is supposed to entertain you. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all it ever has to be.
Right.
That's all it ever has to do is entertain you. To quote Ridley Scott, are you not entertained by watching this movie?
Yeah.
All right.
Was it not an entertaining 3 hours?
Well, and I think
No, but that's the point. That's the argument. Is that it wasn't for a good.
You weren't entertained?
No, there was parts of the movie that are not entertaining to me. There's parts of the movie that, like the world building aspects of the movie, where you go, all right, I've seen enough of this world. Get to the story. That's where I'm not entertained. I'm not entertained.
I love world building. I'm a big. I love world building, and I love because I feel like the more you get to see the world in action and see the characters fleshing out their characters, even if it's like somewhat mundane stuff, then when the big stuff happens, it means more because you recognize how much it changes the status quo and how much it affects the characters.
Right.
It's why it's so like having that time to kind of like exist in the world. I could like watching it. I could know like, all right, this entire hour middle of the movie is supposed to be for us to get to know the characters, because at the end, some stuff is going to go down.
Yeah.
And I assume that James Cameron wants us to be impacted by the stuff that goes down.
Yeah.
So in order for it to be impacted, we need to know the characters, know where they're at, and understand entirely where they're coming from.
Right.
You know, so I was like, I'm okay with like giving my time to this in order to like let the story that's supposed to be told, whatever it may be, tell itself.
Mm-hmm. Right. My argument is not that the movie is too long. Mm-hmm. My argument is that in the moments that are used to flesh out the story, they're not interesting enough to warrant this runtime. So it is too long by proxy of those scenes not being interesting. And I know that we're trying to get to the good parts, but I did remember a nitpick that I had, or a negative that I had.
Yeah.
There's one last one, and then we can move on. But it was the individual characters. They're so uninteresting to me. They're just all like, these are kids falling in love, and this is a husband and wife, and it's all like just the same shit. And like, to go back to what you were saying, like about how these characters can be so closely resembling things that we see on Earth, and yet they're supposed to be these things millions and millions of miles away who have evolved past this pettiness. You know?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when I can understand if I do something culturally because I'm a human, and someone across the country does the same thing, and we go, hey, we're all just human, right? I cannot accept a giant animal humanoid thing.
Hey, we're all just not.
Right. So when they're having these weird things where they're bullying the young kid, it's like, for what reason? What reason is he being bullied?
Because there's racism
because he's an
even
air
across
person.
from the
Yeah.
stars.
But they didn't bully the rest of them. They respected the older one.
True.
They respect the dad. They respect Sully, and he's not even a real Navi.
It's because he's a nerd.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. What the fuck does it even mean to be a nerd in their culture?
They found a way. He's that nerdy.
Yeah.
They found
He
a
wasn't
way.
even that nerdy, to be honest with you.
wasn't.
Like, he was just a...
He was kind of just a hippie. You know, like he just wanted to like do his own thing.
So then they had that whole thing. So the only part that, to me, was like, as I was watching it, was like, all right, I get it. Like, we can move on past this. Was the part of him befriending the whale.
That was a lot.
I feel like there was like 2 or 3 different segments of him going back to like swim with the whale and be like, "Oh, you're just like me. We're outcasts." I was like, "We get it. We got it.
You do the one scene where the whale saves him. You do the second scene, and that's where you get the rest of it. Yeah. You don't need to do it again after that. You let him go into the mouth.
Okay.
you let him do what he does in there. He makes his connection with him and all that. That's the second, and we don't need to. He doesn't need to encounter him again.
Yeah. He finds out the Will's history, which sounds very weird, but you know,
in his mouth.
Yeah, in his mouth.
Dude, he says the first time he says like, "Why are you an outcast?" And he's like, "It's too painful to talk about."
Like, I was like, first of all, I was like, how is he talking to a whale right now? How does he understand this?
I'm gonna throw up. So silly. That was such a silly thing.
Like, he's not even a water Navy.
You wouldn't get it.
What are you talking about? It's too painful to talk about. We're not even talking.
You're not my therapist.
Oh shit! That was so fucking silly, man.
Yeah.
No, that whole part was dumb.
Oh, no,
that was dumb.
That was so silly.
Okay. Look. Okay, let's wrap this on the positive.
Yes. Sorry.
I will say one more negative from my perspective.
Listen, there's a lot of negatives.
But there's also a lot of positive, which we'll get to.
Yes. Let me give one more. Just the dumbness of the Marines in this movie. The amount of just clear contempt they have for the Na'vi.
Yeah.
And I feel like vis-a-vis the clear contempt they have for the audience to not realize like they can't put any nuance into these characters without us being like, maybe they're the good guys.
Right.
No, make them complicated but also bad guys. You know, like
so I was James Cameron has such like a thing about Space Marine.
Yeah, it's got a hard
and it's like a super like on the nose commentary about masculinity every time.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Aliens, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we can go I mean, those are the two main examples. But like, I feel like you can look at his other movies and kind of like, but like, and his, I don't know where I'm going with this, but like
It's an easy stereotypical way to address that thing. And it's
Crayons,
like, if you want to have
you know,
that
like-
conversation, it's like, well, what conversation do you want to have?
But that's the thing, though, too, is like with Aliens, they were clearly hoorah, like dummy, not bad guys, but like one
So are they here?
single-minded people.
Yeah.
You know, war machines is what
Yeah.
they were, and that's what they need to be to survive that.
Right. Well, and
And-
their mission was clear. They were in there to save and to be Marines.
Correct.
But they had an altruistic mission.
They were good.
Yeah.
And
Even if they were jerk-offs, they were good
but
people. They were there to
cool.
help.
They were really cool too,
Yeah.
which I find really interesting about everything else he's ever done is that whenever he has a military force, it oftentimes ends up being like my favorite element of the movie because they look so cool.
Yeah, you have like all the
Yeah.
different the characters.
It's like the anti Miyazaki, where Miyazaki's all about like peace,
Anti-war, anti-imperialism.
and that's cool and that's good. Whereas with Cameron, it's all like war's bad, but don't these guys look super awesome?
Yeah.
Don't these mechs look really cool?
There's absolutely no reason for them to all like dress cool and
They
shit and
all
wear like
have, like,
bandanas.
they
and,
got
like,
really
they have like
cool
the
guns.
feathers
Yeah.
and the
They got really
freaking-
cool guns.
They're chewing gum.
Yeah.
Everybody has
They-
their own gun. It's
Yeah.
like these are military issued guns.
they-
Why do you all have your own?
They all look like Vietnam like warriors,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all of them, like
face-
Born to Die and
Yeah.
stuff like
Fucking
it's
cool as shit,
awesome,
man. They're cool
it's
as
awesome.
shit.
And they only speak in quips.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like he's kind of lost that touch for making them cool, but also like kind of like I don't know if I'd be friends with this person.
I love the
know?
meme that was going around. The picture of the one Marine avatar was like
with the oak leaves.
it was like where was this guy on January 6th?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, no, he's clearly more focused on everything else than this. To me, James Cameron is very clearly more focused on the world that he's created than the interpersonal relationships that he needs to flesh out. So when he has to write those characters, they've become very easy, tropey people because he's not that concerned with them, right? So the Marines are just bad guys. Why are they bad guys? Who fucking
'Cause
knows?
they are.
You know, I
Yeah.
actually feel like James Cameron, in his mind, to him, cares a lot about these characters. And he cares a lot about these relationships.
I think he cares about them as a people.
The thing is, though, you're right in that he's drawing on like simplistic archetypes.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if it's like underestimating the audience, but I feel like he wants to just like use these like cliche archetypes to tell his story and like make people care about them because he thinks like that's enough.
I don't think he's underestimating
world,
the
you know?
audience, but I do think that he thinks the points that he is making are larger points than he thinks we could understand on first watch. I do think that I'm not trying to insult James Cameron as an artist or as an intellectual, but when I watch his movies and I hear his interviews, it does feel like he thinks the movies are smarter than they are. When I watch his movies, I'm like, I got it. I don't like you made it pretty plain and simple,
Yeah.
Jim. Like there's nothing else to really get from this. But when he talks about it, he makes it seem like it's this thing that
So
like
profound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where that comes from is he does, I agree with you. I do think that he has a very like grand love for the characters that he's created. I just don't think he sees them as complex as they are. Or
Could be.
He hasn't as they could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, do you know what we didn't talk about at all yet? That part when the one kid dies, the kid dies,
yeah.
and then Zoe Saldana like goes absolutely crazy.
she goes
Yes.
goes like
insane,
feral and goes like ham and
Well,
just
wait,
like
wait.
destroys.
We could add that to the good part.
Yeah, that was
I was gonna say.
sorry.
Let's
Let's go to the good parts of the movie.
Let us close this episode out with each of our favorite parts of this movie.
Jeez, there's a few.
Yeah, you have to solidify it to one.
No, what?
You gotta do it.
We just spent 45 minutes talking about the bad parts of the movie, and you say we have to choose one good part
That
of the
was
movie.
not my choice, friends.
It just happens, man.
All right. I'm gonna have two, but they're gonna be quick. They're gonna be quick.
I'll take cheats.
All right.
It's fine.
So start with you if you've got them already, because I have one.
Okay.
I have one that
All right. I'm not gonna talk about Zoe Saldana. That part was cool. You guys can elaborate on that. I mean, the obvious thing is the visuals.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean that's the one. That's the
big one.
I mean, to the point where, to be honest with you, I don't have any interest in seeing this movie again. And now, even though I enjoyed it overall, it was a good time.
Yeah.
It's a one and done for me, because after seeing it in 3D in the theater, watching it on on my TV screen is just not going to be the same experience.
We should say it won best visual effects.
For a reason. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Sure.
And people go on and on about how cool it looks, and it's true. Like the colors, just the way he did, like the water moving and everything flowing through it. It was cool to take in visually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the challenge of the water people in the movie. I mean, he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And he challenged himself to do that.
Yeah.
And accomplished it way better than I imagined it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like I was thoroughly impressed by the idea that like he wrote himself into this, and he was like, it's going to look good.
Yeah.
Just wait. Just trust
look
me.
good it did. Like. And you just can't discount that. I mean, there's the plot and the characters and the acting and yada yada, but also like part of the fun of going to the movies is getting shown a show.
Yeah.
And it was a show and then the last 45-minute battle scene was as part of that, the visuals. It was just cool.
Yeah.
My other thing that I liked, and this is a little bit more vague, but I feel like a lot of criticism that I see online about people talking about, the character sucked, the story was lame, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. One thing that, and I feel like this would go off on this whole other discussion, which I'm going to limit it, but it was a very sincere movie. Like, just everything about it, like the emotions, the themes, like, it wasn't couched in like irony.
Sure.
And people weren't quipping all the time.
Yeah.
It was a straight up like he was like if you met it where it was at and took it for what it was, even if it's like, oh, the allegory about, indigenous tribes, it's basic, whatever, but it was sincere. Yeah. And I appreciate that James Cameron took the time to be like tell like a good-hearted, entertaining story. And I feel like a lot of times like we've been so conditioned in media to like analyze everything and look like the meta aspect of stuff. And so I feel like that draws a lot of people to like, it makes it very easy to criticize. But if you just take it as just like a movie for what it is, a sincere, genuine story about like family and people banding together to like defend their values and like help the environment and the whole, like preserve the environment. I mean, it's an environmentalist movie, blatantly,
for sure.
which is important in 2023.
Yeah,
and even if just like a few people who don't really engage with that, if it kind of made them think about like seeing the whaling and stuff, like made them think about more how we affect the world.
Oh my God.
Then it was worth it.
Oh, I forgot about that. I don't want to go back.
Yeah. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna have to say. That's my positive take on it.
Sure.
Dude, the whaling. I need.
Featuring Jermaine Clement.
Bro, going back, I'm not gonna harp on it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna mention it.
Yeah.
The whaling was insane. That he made us watch 30 minutes of whales getting murdered. I just couldn't believe that we were still watching.
Yeah.
It lasted so long
but it
that
was
we were sitting like this in the movie theater, and it got to a point where I looked at Rob and I was just like, I don't remember what I said specifically, but I was just like, are we still doing this? We're still doing this? Like, why?
Slowly drill into the skull of the dead whale,
and it just his fucking membrane.
And
falls
can we
out
just say how the guy was like, oh yeah, if you drink this, you'll live forever, and they were just like, all right,
done with that.
Like,
done
what?
with that plot point. Dude, we could go back and do that whole for another 30 minutes talking about whatever the fuck that subplot was. Yeah. But we will not.
Yes. Please, Marco, what is your...
My favorite part of the movie probably is that last battle sequence on the boat.
Yeah.
To mention the Zoe Saldana's character going fucking feral over her kid dying, Sully going back into Marine mode, his fight, the CQC, fucking, the boat exploding and it's slowly drifting into the ocean.
Just so much segments.
It's capsized. I mean,
he got back into
his
Titanic bussy.
Bro. He went fucking nuts.
It's
in
good
that
movie.
last.
It's good movie magic.
I mean, it's enough to. I mean, a rising tide raises all ships, right? And that
a sinking
saved
one.
the movie. That last scene, I was enthralled. Enthralled.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
Well, I was going to say exactly what you did, Marco, but since you took that already, I'll just say the world building. I really do agree with you, Rob. I think that James Cameron is such an underappreciated world builder. And it's the two things that I love most in filmmaking, which is world building and the ability to craft a emotionally poignant action scene. And he's a master at both of those. So when he gets them both clicking at the same time, like the last quarter of this movie, it is cinematic bliss. And I love it. So
cinematic bliss is a good way to end this. I don't want to say anything else above that.
It's great. It's great. So with that being said, I want to get each of your reviews, obviously out of a 6 out of 6 bottle caps. What do you think of Avatar: The Way of Water? What would you rate it, Marco Dupa?
I'd give it a 4 out of 6.
Okay.
I think it's a good movie. I know I have a lot of passionate criticisms, but at the end of the day, it was entertaining. And like I said, I struggle with the runtime. And the reason I struggle with it is because it is a good movie. I go back and forth because I'm like, did it need to be that long? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. And we litigated it, and we could probably go another 2 hours.
We definitely could. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I walked out of there exhausted, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm at 4 out of 6.
Rob Kimbrough.
Hey, don't use my full name.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Rob Navi.
Do you want me to edit that?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Robert Navi.
Let him know. We'll
put it in the hashtag.
It's if you want to link my Twitter and Instagram.
We were gonna.
We were gonna.
Oh, actually, if you could link my blog.
We were gonna.
Yeah.
This is tough. It really is tough. I'm gonna say, even though as a rule I typically dislike half stars or half,
Sure.
I'm gonna say 4.5 bottle caps.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I enjoyed myself. I feel like I have generally a more positive outlook on it than maybe you overall than you guys do.
Sure.
It wasn't Citizen Kane. It wasn't even Terminator 2.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm probably not going to see it again, but I enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing the third one in theaters next year.
Yeah.
Maybe we make a thing of it. We
should. I was going to suggest that. Okay, so for me, I think I'm actually going to give it a 4.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I want to say, when I walked out of the theater, I think I would have given it a 4. But the more time that I've spent with it and thinking about it, and writing my synopsis, the more I've come to kind of come around to it. And the more I've appreciated kind of what James Cameron's going for, giving him the grace of this larger vision that he's going for in this entire thing. Not to give him any excuses, but I do think this is an improvement upon Avatar 1, which I would have given maybe a 3.
Yeah, it
maybe a 2.5 even when I first saw it.
It's definitely better than the first one.
Yeah. So I think he's on an upward trajectory with this one. I'm excited to see the next one, and Avatar Clanny was insane.
I actually would have given it a lower score coming out, and now that I'm thinking about it, 4 is, I stick with that score. But coming out of it, I probably would have given it like a 3 or 3.5.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I was just upset with some stuff that was lingering.
I know. It's a grower, not a shower.
The dreads. Oh my god.
We won't get into the dreads. for the dreads.
Hashtag dreads.
Or Spider.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Spider. I thought this
really-
going into this. I thought this conversation was going to be dominated
Spider
by
heavy.
Spider.
Yeah, no, we couldn't.
Yeah,
we couldn't.
there's a lot of Spider content that we could do a bonus episode where we just shit on Spider.
You gotta leave them to cut
I'm so
floor.
fucking. Oh man, I just wish they would have killed him off.
That would have been actually pretty good.
Yeah,
honestly.
don't kill the young Navi. Kill that fucking idiot. You know?
Yeah.
No, we need him. We need
we
him
need
for the.
we need Spider.
Is Spider and
He's gonna be important. Coming
Spider is gonna be an important character.
Spider is gonna like try to fuck the Navi Jesus. That's what he's
yeah,
gonna
he
do.
likes her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then they're gonna
Yeah.
make the Kwisatz Haderach.
Jim,
Yeah,
you're weird.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jim, you're weird, dude. You're weird.
You're a weird man.
and I love you. I love you for it.
In the next 3 movies, let's end it on. Okay, it's your guys' show. I'm not gonna claim to end it on anything, but
Please.
in the next 2 movies, are we gonna see? Wait, we actually already did. I was gonna say, are we gonna see an like Avatar sex? But we already did in the first one. I think, didn't we?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But I think
Not
we'll
enough
see,
Avatar sex in the second one.
We're definitely going to get some inter
Species or
interspecial.
Interspecies.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, bestiality for him, for Spider.
I mean, they're both humanoid, right?
I mean, technically, technically,
On that
he's just
note-
wearing a loincloth.
On that note, we will end this episode of the One Real End podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Marco Dupa, Rob Bleep, and Adam Opisis Rodriguez. Rob, since you're the guest, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and most preferably, thenplayon.com. Look it up.
Check it out. We'll be hitting you next time with Avatar 3. Peace!
Let's all go to the Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.